Hello everyone, I'm No Connoisseur, and welcome to my review on the 16th episode of the 7th season of My Little Pony Adventures Magic, also known as Campfire Tales. And pretty much let's just get right into it. This episode I really enjoyed. It had a lot of morals in it. It was like 5 morals in one. Had a cute, cuts from scene to scene and story to story. It had an overarching story with the whole flighters, and, in the end, it really came back to the 3 legends that the adult ponies were talking about, and it really made for a really nice combination of morals and lessons that we have seen throughout the show, but here they're really picked out and amplified and really, singled out just for us to hear, and I enjoyed it a lot. So, without sounding too repetitive, let's just, do a quick recap. The episode basically starts with a continuity to the whole big sister, little sister campfire at the falls, just like seasons ago with the whole Scootaloo, Luna dream and everything. And we even have continuity to Scootaloo being scared of a similar cave. Basically, they're done packing, the flighters come, they're the problem, so they have to run inside of this cave, and, it's a good setting to basically pass the time, so let's share some stories. It starts out with Applejack sharing a story about a pony who wanted to be a part of a very strong elite guard of this volcanic island, but was really too weak to do so, so he was given the role of a farmer. And while that is a important role in this little society, he wanted to be one of the guards. So, again, as legends would have it, he stopped the lava that flowed from an eruption by somehow, in a split second, growing physically and digging a trench to lead the lava away. And he became part of the guard. And that's a moral about, doing what people might say is impossible, also bravery, and just never giving up. And then we move on to the next story, which personally was my favorite out of the 3, at least animation-wise, because this talks about an oriental kind of a town, an oriental kind of pony race. You could tell because of the curved horns and the short, stout muzzles, and I love the clothing, I loved all of the scenery and the beauty, and it was a moral about beauty and about how spreading beauty even through physical things like flowers can help, bring happiness. It also is a moral about selfishness and greed and about how not to do that, sharing, friendship is magic. So, I liked it because of, the fact that the writers and animators were really able to convey that oriental setting. They really did well with the animation and the designs, and I loved it a lot. Finally, we move on to Rainbow Dash's story, which revolves around a pony and also his guard of, troops that need to get back to where they're going, and they need to pass the Dragonlands. And in order to do so, they need to pass the dragons, and we have a nice reference to the previous Dragon Lord and what I assume is Ember's mother, but I'm just theorizing on that. And basically, it's a lesson about courage and bravery, and also about helping your friends, because we see how this pony wants to help free his friends that were captured by the dragons, and the other pony guards help him. And the head of the guard gives him a shield, and realizes his bravery, and appreciates that from him. And I really admire that, too. And what's funny is that these are all legends. And of course, legends might be true, they might not be, and these sound all original, they're not like references to G1 or anything, so I like that the writers did this and made this own G4 kind of a lore, or at least, again, a legend, and in doing so, taught the CMC lessons and the others who didn't hear the lessons, because, Rainbow Dash said a story that Scootaloo didn't know, and Applejack said a story that Apple Bloom did know. So, it wasn't just for the CMC, it was for the 5 others who didn't know about the story at times. And, the reason why I relate to this is because while I haven't had campfires, I've had moments where I've shared stories too. Not legends, but I've given good examples to friends when I comfort them, and I'll say, imagine this happened, and, this is how you might feel, so now you understand what I'm saying. It's that kind of a thing. Now, in this episode, it's really to pass the time, and it's to try to, wait for the flighters to run away, but the flighters aren't the main part of it. It was obviously the story, and the setting wasn't a matter of the fact that it was the cave. It was the fact that it was the whole journey, it was the whole process of let's share these stories, wait for the fighters to go away, and then in doing so, not only do they allow for the stories to be reprised in the little actions that they did to get out of the cave, but it helped the CMC to grow, even though it wasn't like the CMC had to fight a friendship problem or something. They learned a lesson through their bigger sister or sister figures, and I really admire that a lot. I like how also the episode ends with basically them problem solving by going through the other end of the cave and going through a river that goes to the Winsome Falls that they wanted to go to. And how I see Rarity placing the little flower wreaths on their heads, and they're all going to help build another campsite using just nature, as their previous campsite was, destroyed by the flighters. I really do like this kind of a setup, because it might seem like some episodes are filler, and you could tell that this one sort of was, but at the same time, it feels right. It feels like we've been needing another Big Sister, Little Sister campfire like we had last time seasons ago. So I'm glad that they did this, because they could have not even mentioned that, but they knew that they could, and they took advantage of it, so it was a nice bit of continuity. And with that being said, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share them below. I would just, I'll reply to them. I enjoy hearing them, and I'm glad you like this review. So I'll see you next time.